Viktor Petrovich went down to the basement at 7 in the morning. 3 minutes later, he was already dialing the police. July 15, 2001. Monday. The Moscow Polytechnic College was being prepared for major repairs. The old building on Avtozavodskaya had been standing since the 1960s. The basements had not been touched for 20 years. Viktor Petrovich Gromov worked as a production training supervisor. He had 32 years of experience. He was asked to check the utilities in the basement of building number 3. It was a simple job that would take an hour. Before we begin the story, please write which city you are from. We are very interested in where you are watching our video from. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your rating. The iron door creaked open. Viktor turned on his flashlight. Concrete walls, old heating pipes, dust as thick as a finger. In the far corner, he noticed a hole. Part of the brick wall had collapsed. Behind it was emptiness. Viktor shone his light inside. 2 figures sat by the wall, motionless. Viktor moved closer. He stopped. They were skeletons, rotted clothes. Next to them were 2 plastic student ID cards. He picked up one of the cards. He wiped the dust off it. A photograph of a young man. Sokolov Mikhail Andreevich, Group RT 312, year of admission, 1988. The second card. Volkov Pavel Dmitrievich, Group RT 312. Viktor left the basement. His hands were shaking. He remembered those names. He remembered those guys. Asterisk, asterisk. May 1990. 11 years before the discovery dot, asterisk, asterisk, Monday morning. Mikhail Sokolov woke up at 5:30. He had half an hour before he had to get up. 3 others were still asleep in the dorm room. Mikhail quietly got dressed and went out into the hallway. The kettle was already boiling in the kitchen. Pavel Volkov was standing at the stove. His best friend, his roommate. "Can't sleep?" Pavel asked. "Practical training starts today. The Rubin factory, workshop number 4. I wonder what kind of work it will be." Pavel shrugged. He poured tea into 2 mugs. They were 19 years old, 3rd year of the radio engineering department. Both were excellent students. Both dreamed of a great career. The Soviet Union was living out its last months. But the students didn't know that. They believed in the future, in job placement, in stable work. The entrance to the Rubin factory, 8 in the morning. A group of 12 students waited at the checkpoint. The guard checked the list. "Sokolov?" "Here." "Volkov?" "Me." "Come in. Master Krylov will meet you." Gennady Krylov looked tired. Gray hair, bags under his eyes, a smoky voice. "Follow me, quickly." He led them across the factory yard, past the warehouses, past the main workshops, to the old building in the far corner of the territory. "Workshop number 4? "Yes, experimental." Krylov opened the door. Inside it was dimly lit. Several work tables, old equipment, the smell of machine oil. "You will work here for a month, assembling boards for military equipment. Secret, non-disclosure agreement." Mikhail and Pavel exchanged glances. Military equipment? In this old workshop? Krylov handed out the documents. "Read them carefully, sign them, then I'll show you your workplaces." The first week passed quietly. The students soldered circuit boards. Simple work. Monotonous? Krylov checked every detail. He nitpicked over trifles. 4 other people worked in the workshop. Silent men in their 40s. They didn't talk to the students. They ate lunch separately. Friday. End of shift. Mikhail was gathering his tools. He accidentally dropped a screwdriver. It rolled under the rack. Mikhail reached for it. There was a box under the rack. Mikhail pulled it out. Inside were microchips in anti-static bags. Imported. Each one was marked in Latin letters. "Hey, what are you doing there?" Krylov was standing behind him. His face turned pale. "I dropped my screwdriver. Here, I found it." "Put the box back, quickly." Mikhail pushed the box back. Krylov watched intently. "Forget what you saw. Understand?" "Yes." "You're free to go." Evening, dormitory. Mikhail told Pavel about his discovery. "Imported microchips? In our workshop?" "Exactly. Japanese or American?" "Strange. Where did they come from?" Pavel thought for a moment. He took a notebook out of his bag. He began to draw something. "Remember the circuit we soldered today?" "Yes." "Look here." Pavel showed him the drawing. Mikhail looked closely. "This isn't a military circuit board." "Exactly. It's a circuit board for a VCR." "But Krylov said—" "Krylov is lying." It was getting dark outside. Doors were slamming in the hallway. Students were returning from class. "What should we do?" Mikhail asked. "Nothing for now. We need to figure this out." Monday, a new week of practical training. Krylov was late. The students were waiting at the entrance to the workshop. A stranger appeared. He was tall and wore a leather jacket. He walked past the students and opened the workshop with his key. "Who are you?" someone from the group asked. "It doesn't matter. Wait for Krylov." The man went inside. 5 minutes later, he came out with a box, the same one Mikhail had seen. He put it in the trunk of a black Volga. He drove away. Krylov appeared half an hour later. He looked confused. "Everyone to their places. Let's get to work." In the workshop, he immediately went under the rack. The box was gone. Krylov cursed. He looked at Mikhail. "You didn't tell anyone?" "No." "Are you sure?" "Yes." Krylov walked away, but Mikhail felt his gaze on him all day. Wednesday. After lunch, Krylov called Mikhail and Pavel aside. "There's extra work, over the weekend, separate pay." "What kind of work?" "Move equipment from the old building, building number 8, in the basement." "Why us?" "You're strong. You can handle it." Krylov handed him a piece of paper with an address on it. "Saturday, 7 in the morning. Come here, just the two of you. Don't tell anyone." Mikhail took the piece of paper. The address was on the other side of the factory. On Thursday evening, a police officer came to the dormitory. Senior Lieutenant Borisov. Document check. "Mikhail Sokolov?" "That's me." "Pavel Volkov?" "That's me." "Where are you doing your internship?" "The Rubin factory." "Everything okay? No complaints?" Mikhail and Pavel exchanged glances. "No, everything's fine." "If anything comes up, call me." Borisov left his business card and left. Pavel picked up the card. He turned it over in his hands. "That's strange. Why is the police checking on interns?" "Maybe it's a routine check." "It doesn't seem like it." Friday, the last day of the work week. Another stranger appeared in the workshop. He was short and wore glasses. He talked to Krylov in the corner. Mikhail tried to eavesdrop. He could only make out fragments of the conversation. "The shipment is ready. They'll pick it up on Saturday. The basement is secure." The stranger left. Krylov returned to the students. "Tomorrow is a day off. Rest up. Sokolov, Volkov, remember about Saturday." After work, Mikhail and Pavel walked to the gate. The same black Volga was standing at the gate. Behind the wheel was a man in a leather jacket. He looked at the students. "Let's hurry," said Pavel. They walked out of the gate. The Volga slowly followed them. At the first intersection, it turned. Friday evening, a room in a dormitory. Mikhail and Pavel sat by the window. On the table was the policeman's business card. "Maybe we should call Borisov?" "What are we going to say? That we suspect something?" "I don't know, but I'm scared to go tomorrow." Pavel picked up the card and dialed the number. Long beeps. No one answered. "It's after hours." "What should we do?" "Let's go tomorrow. We'll see. If anything happens, we'll leave." It was raining outside. Street lights flashed. Somewhere in the distance, an ambulance siren wailed. Mikhail took out his student ID. He looked at his photo. Young, smiling, full of hope. "You know, I have a bad feeling about this." "Me too." The clock showed 11 in the evening. There were 8 hours left until morning. A door slammed in the hallway. Someone's footsteps. A knock on the door. "Sokolov! Volkov! Open up!" An unfamiliar voice. Mikhail approached the door. "Who's there?" "Open up. Urgent message." Mikhail opened the door. A man in a leather jacket was standing on the threshold, the same one from the Volga. "Tomorrow at 7 in the morning. Don't be late. Krylov is waiting." The man turned around and left. Pavel locked the door with a bolt. "How does he know where we live?" Mikhail didn't answer. He looked out the window. A black Volga was parked in the yard. The man got behind the wheel, but the car didn't drive away. It remained standing there. "He's watching us." "What's going on?" The night dragged on endlessly. Mikhail and Pavel didn't sleep. They sat by the window. The Volga remained in place. At 2 in the morning, the lights in the dormitory went out. Only the emergency lighting in the corridor remained on. At 2:30, the Volga drove away. "Maybe we should run away?" Pavel suggested. "Where to? They know our addresses. They know our parents. What do they want from us?" Dawn. Gray sky. The rain intensified. 6 in the morning. Time to get ready. Mikhail put on his jacket. He put his student ID in his pocket. For some reason, he took a flashlight. "Ready?" "Yes." They left the dormitory. The streets were empty. Only a few cars. A tram at the stop. It was a 20-minute walk to the factory. They were already waiting for them at the gate. Krylov was standing at the gate. Next to him was a man in a leather jacket and a short man with glasses. 2 more unfamiliar men. "You're late," said Krylov. "We're on time. It's 7 in the morning." "It doesn't matter. Let's go." The group moved across the factory grounds, not to workshop number 4, in the opposite direction, past the main building, past the warehouses, to the abandoned part. Building number 8 stood behind a rusty fence. The windows were boarded up. The walls were cracked. A sign, "No entry." The man with glasses unlocked the door, a new lock on an old door. "Come in." Inside it was dark. Krylov turned on his flashlight. Concrete floor, crumbling plaster, the smell of dampness. "Let's go down to the basement." The stairs led down. The steps crumbled underfoot. Mikhail counted the floors. -1, -2, deep. The basement turned out to be huge. Several rooms. In the first one, there were boxes. Dozens of boxes. Each one was marked with English letters. "This is what you'll be carrying," said Krylov. "Where?" "To the next room. It's easier to load there." The man in the jacket opened one box. He showed them the contents. Microchips, hundreds of them, in their factory packaging. "Be careful with them. Each one is worth your annual scholarship." Mikhail picked up one box. It was heavy, about 20 kilograms. "How many are there?" 60 boxes. You'll be done before lunch." They worked in silence. They carried the boxes. The man in glasses kept track of them. He made check marks in his notebook. An hour later, Pavel whispered to Mikhail, "This is contraband." "I understand. Imported parts, no documents." "Quiet." The man in the jacket was watching them. He came closer. "What are you whispering about?" "Nothing. We're working." Work in silence. By 10 in the morning, they had moved half of it. Krylov allowed a break. He gave them a thermos of tea. "Tired?" "We're fine." "You're working well. Maybe there's more work to be found." Mikhail drank his tea. He looked around. In the corner of the basement, he noticed a door. It was iron, with a bolt. "What's in there?" he asked Krylov. "The old boiler room. It hasn't been used for a long time." "Why is it locked?" "It's dangerous. The pipes could collapse." The man with glasses approached Krylov. He said something quietly. Krylov nodded. Okay, enough rest. Let's continue. 2 more hours of work. All the boxes were moved. The man in glasses counted them. He took out an envelope. He gave it to Krylov. This is for them, 1,000 each. Krylov handed the money to the students. Mikhail didn't take it. We don't need it. Take it. You earned it. Pavel also refused. We just helped. Thank you, but no thanks. The man in the jacket stood between the students and the exit. Krylov said, take it. So take it? His voice was harsh. Mikhail took the money. Pavel did too. Good. Now you are our partners. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. You took money for illegal work. Now you're tied to us. Mikhail realized it was a trap. Too late. We didn't know. Of course you didn't know, but you took the money. Will you write a receipt? The man with glasses took out a piece of paper. It was a pre-printed text. I, the undersigned, received 1,000 rubles for work performed on the transportation of imported equipment. We won't sign it. You will, or we'll take you to the police right now. Explain the smuggling to them. Mikhail and Pavel signed. The man with glasses took the papers. He hid them in his briefcase. Now listen carefully. On Monday, you will come to practice as usual. You will work. You will remain silent. If anyone asks about Saturday, you were in the dormitory. Is that clear? Yes. If you decide to talk, you'll be reported to the police. You'll be charged with smuggling. 5 years in prison. Any questions? There were no questions. You are free to go. The students headed for the exit. The man in the jacket called out, Stop! Inspection! He searched their pockets. He found nothing. Go! Outside, Mikhail took a deep breath. His hands were shaking. What have we done? We're in trouble. Big trouble. They walked in silence. The guard at the gate didn't even look up. It was as if they weren't there. They locked themselves in their room in the dormitory. Pavel took out the money, 2 500-ruble bills. What should we do with them? I don't know. Burn them? That's stupid. It's too late for that. Outside the window, it was a normal Saturday. People were going about their business. Children were playing in the yard. Life was normal. We need to go to the police, to Borisov. With a receipt, they'll arrest us first. Then what? Mikhail took the business card. He dialed the number. Again, long beeps. On the 5th beep, someone answered. A woman's voice. Hello? Can I speak to Borisov? Which Borisov? Senior lieutenant. He gave me this card. You've got the wrong number. This is an apartment. Mikhail looked at the card. He dialed again. The same woman's voice. I told you, you've got the wrong number. I'm sorry. He hung up. He showed the card to Pavel. It's fake. There was no Borisov. Who came then? I don't know, but definitely not the police. Monday. Work. Mikhail and Pavel arrived at 8. Krylov was already waiting. Work as usual. No talk about Saturday. The same 4 workers were in the workshop. The same soldering boards. Everything was as before. Only now Mikhail knew that these were not military boards. At lunchtime, a man with glasses came in. He talked to Krylov. He looked at the students. He left. Krylov called Mikhail over. There's more work, this week. No, we won't do it anymore. You will. You have no choice. Krylov showed him a photocopy of the receipt. See the signature? It's yours. So don't show off. Tuesday. After practice, Mikhail went to the technical school. He found his teacher, Sergei Ivanovich. Can we talk? What's wrong? There are some strange things going on at practice. What kind of strange things? We're soldering military circuit boards, but they're not military. How do you know? I know my stuff. These are circuit boards for household appliances. Sergei Ivanovich frowned. Are you sure? Yes. All right, I'll look into it, but don't tell anyone. Understand? Mikhail nodded. He left the office. A man in a jacket was waiting for him in the hallway. Why did you come? I came to pick up my textbooks. Don't lie. I heard everything. The man grabbed Mikhail by the arm. He squeezed it until it hurt. This is your last warning. If you complain again, you'll regret it. Wednesday. Sergei Ivanovich didn't come to class. The students were told that he was sick, urgent, taken to the hospital. Mikhail realized it was no coincidence. After the practical training, Krylov called him again. Tomorrow is the night shift, a special order. I can't. You can, and you will, from 10 in the evening until 6 in the morning. What kind of order? You'll find out tomorrow. In the evening, Mikhail told Pavel. Night shift? That's bad. I know. Maybe we should run away? Go home? They know our addresses. They'll find us. It was getting dark outside. His neighbor, Vitya, from his freshman year, came into the room. There's a man here for you. He's asking for you. What man? The one in the leather jacket. He's waiting downstairs. Mikhail went downstairs. The man in the jacket was standing at the entrance. Don't you dare skip work tomorrow. We'll pick you up at 9:30. Why? I'll come myself. Just to be sure, and bring a friend. Thursday. Mikhail was restless all day. Pavel was nervous too. At 9:30, a horn honked outside the dormitory, a black Volga. Let's go, said Mikhail. Maybe we shouldn't? We have no choice. They got into the car. An unfamiliar driver was at the wheel. The man in the jacket was next to him. They drove in silence, not to the factory, in the other direction, out of town. Where are we going? You'll see. An hour later, they stopped at some kind of warehouse, a high fence, dogs, security guards. Get out. Inside the warehouse were boxes, hundreds of boxes, like in the basement of Building 8. Krylov was already waiting. With him were a man with glasses and several other strangers. You'll be packing. Here's the plan. 20 microchips per box, carefully. They worked until morning. They packed thousands of microchips. Their hands went numb. Their eyes were glued shut. At 6 in the morning, Krylov gave them more money, 2,000 each. Bonus for the night. No, thank you. You must. Take it. They drove back in silence. They dropped them off at the dormitory. I'll see you on Monday for your internship. Don't you dare skip it. The Volga drove away. Friday. Mikhail didn't go to his internship. He called in sick. Pavel, too. At lunchtime, a doctor from the clinic came. A young woman. Any complaints? My head hurts. Did you take your temperature? No. The doctor took out a thermometer, then a syringe. What's that? Vitamins for fatigue. She gave him an injection. Mikhail immediately felt sick. His head was spinning. Everything went dark before his eyes. He woke up a few hours later. Pavel was lying on the bed next to him. He was also coming to. What was that? I don't know. A sleeping pill? It was evening outside the window. There was no one in the room. The door was locked from the outside. Mikhail pulled the handle. Locked. He started knocking. Hey, open up! Footsteps in the corridor. The lock clicked. A man in a jacket entered. Wake up? Good? What's going on? Preventive measures, so you don't do anything stupid. But we didn't. I know, but it's better to be safe than sorry. The man sat down on a chair. He lit a cigarette. Listen carefully. We have a business proposal for you. The man in the jacket took out a folder. He pulled out some photographs. Recognize them? The photos showed Mikhail's parents leaving their apartment building, Pavel's mother outside a store, Mikhail's younger sister walking home from school. Why did you take these? For clarity, so you understand the seriousness of the situation. The man put the photos away. He took out other documents. Here are your personal files from the technical college, references, addresses, everything about you and your families. What do you want? The man smiled. Cooperation, long term. You're smart guys. You know electronics. We need people like you. For smuggling? For business. The country is changing. Whoever gets there first wins. Pavel got up from the bed. He walked over to the window. What if we refuse? You won't refuse. You have a debt. 4,000 between the two of you, plus receipts. We'll pay back the money. It's too late. It's not about the money. The man in the jacket stood up. He walked over to the door. I'll give you a day to think about it. I'll expect your answer tomorrow at 8 in the evening. Come to the warehouse. You know the address. What if we don't come? You will come, or your parents will find out that their children are smugglers, with proof. The man left. He left the door open. Mikhail and Pavel sat in silence. It was getting dark outside. In the hallway, it was business as usual in the dorm. Laughter, music, doors slamming. We have to run, Pavel said. Where? Home? They're watching us. Then to the police, the real ones. With a receipt for smuggling, they'll arrest us. Pavel took out his money, 4,000 rubles, a fortune for a student. Maybe we should give it back to them. They said it wasn't about the money. Saturday. Morning. Mikhail hadn't slept all night. He was thinking, looking for a way out. At 9 in the morning, he called home. His mother answered right away. Misha, how's the internship? Fine, Mom. You sound tired. Lots of work. Take care of yourself. Mikhail wanted to tell her everything. He couldn't. He imagined those people coming to his mother. Mom, I love you. I love you too, son. Did something happen? No, everything's fine. He hung up. Pavel also called home. He couldn't tell her either. What are we going to do? I don't know. The day dragged on endlessly. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Krylov arrived, alone, without security. Let's go talk outside. They went out into the courtyard. They sat down on a bench. Krylov lit a cigarette. His hands were shaking. Guys, you're in trouble. Serious trouble. You set us up. Not me. I'm in this up to my neck, too. How did that happen? Krylov took a drag. He exhaled smoke. It started 6 months ago. They offered me a side job, covering deliveries. I agreed. I needed the money. Then I got sucked in. Now there's no way out. Who are these people? I don't know for sure. Former military, I think. They set up a supply channel through Poland. Microchips, processors. There's a terrible shortage. The prices are astronomical. Is the factory involved? The director, definitely, and the head of security. I don't know anyone else. Krylov threw away his cigarette butt. He ground it out with his foot. I tried to get out. They threatened my family. I have a daughter, 15 years old. What should we do? Agree. There's no other way out. But that's a crime. I know, but the alternative is worse. Krylov stood up. He took an envelope out of his pocket. This is for you, from me, 1,000 rubles. Leave, right now, far away. They'll find us. Try. It's your only chance. Krylov left. Mikhail held the envelope. Inside were 1,000 ruble bills. Let's go to the station, said Pavel. Let's go. They packed their things in 15 minutes. The bare essentials, documents, money, student IDs. There was a guard at the dormitory entrance. Where are you going? To the library. With backpacks? We need to take a lot of books. The guard looked at them suspiciously, but she let them out. On the street, Mikhail looked back. A familiar Volga was parked near the dormitory. Hurry up! They walked through the courtyards. They zigzagged. They came out at the tram stop. They got on the first tram they saw. On the tram, Pavel whispered, Look, 3rd row. A man with glasses, reading a newspaper, but looking at them. They jumped out at the next stop, ran, across the road, into the subway. The subway car was crowded. Saturday evening, people were going about their business. Kursky Station, said Mikhail. Why? A train to the south, to Sochi or Rostov. At Kursky Station they studied the schedule. The next train was in 2 hours, to Voronezh. They bought tickets, third class, in different cars for safety. They sat down in the waiting room. An hour and a half until the train. Half an hour later, 2 men entered the room, a man in a jacket and a Volga driver. They looked around. Mikhail lowered his head. He covered himself with a newspaper. The men walked past. They stopped at the exit to the platform. They didn't see us, Pavel whispered, but they blocked the platform. Mikhail looked at his watch. The train was due in an hour. We have to leave. Where to? It doesn't matter. Away from here. They got up. They went to another exit, through the restroom, through the service rooms. They went out onto the street. It was getting dark. The streetlights came on. Taxi, quickly. They hailed a car. To Sheremetyevo. The airport? 200 rubles. Okay. They set off. Mikhail looked in the rearview mirror. It seemed like no one was following them. At the airport, they studied the departure board. A flight to Leningrad in 40 minutes. There were tickets. Shall we take it? Let's go. They bought tickets. They went through check-in, passport control. In the waiting room, Mikhail relaxed. It seemed they had gotten away. They announced boarding. They went to the exit. They were waiting for them at the ramp. A man in a jacket and 2 strangers. Thought you could get away? We just... Shut up. Let's go. They led them out through the service exit to a familiar Volga. Get in. They drove for a long time out of the city, into the darkness. Mikhail realized it was the end. They were taken to the factory, but not to the main entrance, to building number 8. Get out. They went down to the basement, to the same room where they had been carrying boxes. A man with glasses was already waiting. With him was Krylov, pale, frightened. Krylov gave you money to escape. He confessed. You're all good. Let us go. We won't tell anyone. It's too late. You know too much. The man in the jacket opened the iron door, the very same one. The old boiler room. Inside was a small room, concrete walls, 1 light bulb, an iron grate instead of a door. Sit down. Think about it. In the morning, we'll decide what to do with you. They pushed them inside. They locked the grate. Krylov approached the grate. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. Help us. I can't. They took my daughter. Krylov left. The others followed him. The light bulb flickered, then went out. Darkness. Mikhail took out his flashlight, the one he had taken that morning, by chance, or by premonition. He lit up the room, 4 by 4 meters, 3 meters high. In the corner were old pipes, rusty. In the other corner were some boxes. We have to get out of here. How? The bars are strong. Pavel pulled on the bars. They didn't budge. Mikhail shone the light on the walls, looking for a weak spot. In the far corner he noticed a ventilation hole, covered by a grate, but the grate was old. Let's try. Pavel lifted Mikhail up. Mikhail pulled on the bars. They gave way. With a little more effort, the bars fell out. The opening was narrow, but it was possible to squeeze through. You go first. You're thinner. Pavel climbed in. He got stuck halfway. Mikhail pushed. Suddenly, something cracked above them. Plaster fell down, then bricks. Back, quick! Pavel got out. A second later, the ventilation shaft collapsed. A crash. Dust. When the dust settled, they saw that the passage was blocked. Completely. That's it. We're trapped. The flashlight began to dim. The batteries were running out. Mikhail turned it off. He was conserving power. They sat in the dark. They were silent. Then Pavel said, "You know, I only regret one thing." "What?" "That I didn't have time to tell Lenka that I love her." "She knows." "How?" "I could see it in her eyes." They were silent. "And I wanted to build a radio, my own, from scratch." "You'll have time for that." "I doubt it." Water was dripping somewhere, steadily, like a clock. "How much time has passed?" "I don't know. 2 hours?" Mikhail turned on the flashlight. He shone it on the clock. 2:30 in the morning. Something glinted in the far corner. Mikhail went over. An old box. Inside were tools, rusty but intact. A hammer, a chisel, screwdrivers. "Maybe we can break the grate?" "Let's try." They took turns hitting it. The bars bent, but they didn't break. Soviet steel. Their hands were bleeding. They were running out of strength. And then, from above, they heard footsteps. Voices. "Hey, help! We're here!" The footsteps receded. They didn't hear us, or they didn't want to. Dawn. A ray of light through a crack in the rubble. 8 in the morning. No one came. 9. 10. Thirst tormented us. Our mouths were dry. In the corner, we found a pipe with a valve. We opened it. Rusty water flowed out. Then clean water. We drank greedily. 11 in the morning. Footsteps above. Lots of footsteps. Then an explosion. Not a strong one. Controlled. Part of the wall of the building collapsed. Bricks rained down from above. Dust. It became completely dark. Mikhail tried to turn on his flashlight. It didn't work. It fell and broke. "They're burying us. Alive." "Looks like it." It became difficult to breathe. The air was running out. Pavel was the first to start suffocating. He was wheezing. Mikhail banged on the bars. He screamed. It was useless. Then he started to suffocate too. The last thing he remembered was taking out his student ID. He clutched it in his hand, so they could identify him later. The darkness thickened. It became viscous. It sucked him in. Mikhail closed his eyes. 2001. The investigator's office. Major Korolev read the report. Gennady Krylov sat opposite him. He had aged. He was completely gray. "So you knew they were in the basement?" "I knew, but when I came back in the morning, it was already blocked. I thought it had collapsed accidentally." "Why didn't you report it?" "I was afraid. They were holding my daughter." "Who are they?" "I don't know their names, only their nicknames. Doctor is the one with glasses. Leather is the one in the jacket." "What happened to them?" "Doctor was killed in 91, a showdown. Leather disappeared in 93. "And the factory director?" "He died in 95. Heart attack." "Convenient. They're all dead." Krylov lowered his head. "I'm ready to face the punishment. The statute of limitations has expired, so no criminal case can be brought. But you have to live with it. The cemetery. A week after the identification. 2 graves side by side. Mikhail Sokolov, Pavel Volkov. On the monuments are photos from their student IDs. Young, smiling. Their parents have come. Aged, heartbroken. Mikhail's mother stroked the photo on the monument. "I knew something had happened. My heart felt it. But I hoped." Pavel's father stood silently. He clenched his fists. "I wish I could find those creatures." "They're dead," said Investigator Korolev. "Everyone who was involved. Death isn't enough for them." Their classmates came, those who were still alive, those who remembered. Viktor Petrovich Gromov was the one who found them. He stood to one side. "I'm sorry. If only I had found them sooner." "It's not your fault," said Mikhail's mother. "Thank you for finding them. At least now they have a grave." Technical College, memorial plaque. Studied here, Mikhail Andreevich Sokolov, Pavel Dmitrievich Volkov. tragically killed in 1990, eternal memory. Students walk by. They read. Some ask what happened. The teachers tell them, not the whole truth. The version for everyone is that it was an accident during practical training. Only the archives of investigator Korolev hold the truth. Case number 2001-1247, classified as not for publication. 30 years. Epilogue. Investigator Korolev retired in 2010. The last thing he did was to remove the secrecy classification from the case. A journalist from a local newspaper wrote an article. The Mystery of Building Number 8. A short piece, no details. The Rubin factory has long been closed. In its place is a shopping center. Building number 8 was demolished in 2002, permanently. Krylov died in 2005. Cancer. Before his death, he wrote a letter to the parents of the victims. He asked for forgiveness. The letter was never sent. His daughter burned it. The technical school still conducts practical training. But now they check the enterprises more carefully, and students are not sent to night shifts. The story of Mikhail and Pavel has become a legend at the technical school. It is overgrown with details. It becomes more frightening or more heroic. It depends on the storyteller, but few know the truth, and it would be better not to know it at all. Because the truth is this: 2 young men died because of someone else's greed. They just happened to be in the wrong place, at the wrong time, and no one was truly punished. Justice prevailed only halfway. The bodies were found, they were buried, monuments were erected, but those who could have answered for it got away with it. Death was their salvation, and Mikhail and Pavel remained forever 19 years old. In the photos on their student IDs, in the memories of those who knew them, in the investigator's archive file, and in the basement of building number 8, which no longer exists, where no one had looked for them for 11 years. Question for viewers: do you think Krylov could have saved the boys if he hadn't been afraid for his daughter? Or was the system stronger than any attempts at resistance? Write your opinion in the comments.